Hello and welcome to another edition of the PHNX D-backs podcast right here on PHNX. World Series time, baby. We know who's going now. So, of course, this show is brought to you by the fine folks at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. I am your mayor, PHNX, occasionally known as Derek Montilla. He is your vice mayor. He's occasionally known as Thunderstick Jesse Friedman. And, of course, we are here to talk about some World Series action. Let's go. Padres done. Yankees done. The Yankees lose. That's for Ben. But, of course, Jesse, what are your thoughts on the Astros sweeping the Yankees?
The Astros utterly own the New York Yankees. That's pretty much the story. I think it was Jeff Passan had a ridiculous stat the other day of over the course of every game that the Astros and Yankees have played this year, regular season and postseason, the Yankees have had a lead after like 8 innings or something. And the Astros have had the lead after like every other inning in all of those games. So it's just crazy how much the Astros have sort of bullied the Yankees over not just this season, but over the last few years. They've just kind of had their number. And it's a fascinating World Series matchup. In the American League, you've got a team that won 106 games, right? A team that is arguably the best team in the American League and was kind of always the favorite to represent the American League in the World Series. And on the other hand, you have the first ever third wildcard team in Major League history ascending all the way to the stage of the World Series. And we also have to wait 4 more days to even see one of these games happen. So there's all sorts of interesting things happening here.
What a ridiculous tease. Like, what a ridiculous tease to have, like, the playoffs in so many of these series be condensed down so much, to have things going so fast, and now 5-day layoff.
Yeah.
Figure it out, guys.
I mean, it's sort of like the calm before the storm, you know?
It makes sense.
It allows both pitching staffs to fully recover, and, you know, all of the pitchers will be available. Teams will be able to line up their starters the exact way that they want to. So there is a benefit to that. But yeah, it is weird for us to just kind of sit around here and wait for, 5 days after the last game of the championship series was finished. So weird situation, but I'm excited for this matchup. I think despite the fact that the Phillies were 87-75 and the Astros were 106-56, based on how good the Phillies have been in the playoffs, it kind of feels like a sort of even matchup, which is something I never thought I would say going into the postseason.
Alex Bregman, it might go down as one of the best third basemen in postseason history. He has now the most home runs for a third baseman in postseason history, as well as being the driving force, or the person that got the go-ahead run in the final game against the Yankees. And it's just been an impressive thing, because Alex Bregman doesn't really get, I don't feel like, the credit he deserves. I don't know if any Astros will get the credit they deserve. I think it's easy to just bang on a trash can, make jokes about Oscar the Grouch, and disregard what they're doing. But the Astros have been incredible. Their dominance over the Yankees, it's not surprising considering, like Jesse said, how good they've been against the Yankees. But it's surprising because, here we are in the postseason. You had 2 of the best teams in Major League Baseball going up against each other. And the Yankees look like they were just flailing to keep up with the Astros. They get swept. The Astros sweep their first series. They are perfect 7 for 7 so far in the postseason, and could go on potentially to roll over the Phillies. And
could you imagine if the Astros went 11-0?
It's very possible, because they are a dominant team.
Yeah.
And honestly, speaking of the Phillies, it's very funny that the Phillies are the, downtrodden underdogs when they actually have a much higher payroll than the Astros. But, I mean, seriously, is there a better team to be up against in the World Series than the Houston Astros? The ultimate villain, more so than the Yankees. They've passed the Yankees for being the biggest villain in baseball because of the whole cheating scandal and how you can kind of slap that label on them. But now they definitely, even though they're not the team with the higher payroll that's spending the money to do the thing, they are the team that is easily seen as the biggest villain in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, the Phillies fans are going to have so much fun with this, right? I mean, they don't play the Houston Astros very often.
Yeah, Phillies fans, they have an entire, they're like, we have new material. We've been working on some stuff. Wait till we get here, right? But
there were chants in the streets of Philadelphia last night that we want the Astros, or we want Houston, something along those lines.
I think Trash Tros was maybe.
Yeah, maybe that's what they said. But yeah, I mean, the Phillies are getting an opportunity on a really big stage against a team that basically everyone hates. I know we have a poll that we put out to all of you guys, which team you were going to be rooting for in the World Series, and it is not close.
Not even close.
And there's a reason that when I tweeted this, I had said pretends not to know how you will answer because yes, we all knew that you guys were going to root
it's
for the
actually
Phillies.
that 19%. That's more surprising.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised it's that high. But I will also say that John Boy put out a poll of their own that was very similar. That was, who are you rooting for in the World Series? It was very similar to ours. It was like 75 Phillies, 25 Astros. So it's not just you Diamondbacks fans who are rooting for the Phillies in this series. It's pretty much all of baseball.
It's everybody
that's rooting for the Philadelphia Phillies in this series, which is crazy because, like you said, they spend a lot of money. They're not like your prototypical underdog story.
They're getting away with it.
They're
really
absolutely getting away with it.
And honestly, it's very indicative of Philadelphia, right? Philadelphia is very much a blue-collar, hardworking town.
Yeah, you would know, and Derek. So you were there like 2 weeks ago.
I was there. I blessed them with my presence. That's why they're in the World Series, Jesse. We both know that. But, of course, I want to say nice try to you guys trying to get us to root for the Padres. You'll get us next time, but not this time. National League West is done with the loss. Does that bring you joy? Does that bring you joy? I mean, does it? Because there are some people that come from the point of view that they want to see the team that beat them go on to win the whole thing, and then there's petty people like myself who just can't wait to see them lose, right? And get their revenge. But I don't know. I feel satisfied that the National League West spent as much money as they did and still weren't able to come out with the World Series title once again.
Yeah, it's understandable. I mean, I think there is something to be said for, not watching one of your NL West foes march into the World Series and, have as big of a stage as there will be on Friday night. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I don't think the Padres or the Dodgers are going away anytime soon.
It's just gonna piss them off more. Right?
Yeah, it's just gonna tempt AJ Preller to go spend more money,
right.
and
it's like we hit a hornet's nest with a baseball bat and then ran inside the house really fast. They're just gonna be pissed now.
It is sort of terrifying in a sense, right? Anytime that the Dodgers or the Padres fall below the goal that they're shooting for, that their front offices are going to try to make it right. They're not going to turn around the next year, most likely, and just, run it back with the same team. They're going to try to make improvements. So there is a side to this where, you are sort of tempting those guys to come out and make some big moves this winter. But at the end of the day, if the Dodgers aren't going deep into the postseason, I think Diamondbacks fans are pretty happy about that. And if the Padres aren't going all the way into the World Series, I imagine that's a good thing for a lot of people as well.
Ben in the chat said I was happier about the Dodgers losing than the Padres. Yeah,
I think probably everyone feels that way.
They got away the same thing the Phillies did of somehow being the underdog in the situation, even though they don't spend that much less, right? So really, it comes down to feeling like like a team that's closer to the Diamondbacks. I think that's the thing about the Phillies. Of course, besides the PH thing I pointed out to you guys that makes me feel closer to them is that the Phillies just didn't have that good of a record. Really, when it came down to it, they barely got into the playoffs. And
the Phillies, this stat blew my mind. The Phillies in the regular season were below 500 when not playing the Washington Nationals. They just clowned the Nationals and were actually a pretty bad team outside of that. Well, so wild stuff.
That's a good team to pick on if you can. Of course, Jesse will be keeping you updated with what the Arizona Diamondbacks do to keep up with these other teams. It's not just the Dodgers and the Padres, by the way. All sorts of rumors circulating about who the Giants are going to be interested in this offseason. And they are not going to just lay down and roll over either in this division. So it's going to continue to be hard. I'm purposefully leaving the Rockies out of the conversation to hurt people's feelings. And, of course, we got to do what we got to do. So make sure to keep up to date with Jesse over at gophnx.com. You can get an annual membership and you'll get yourself a free t-shirt from the phnxlocker.com. Of course, there's this good boy, Cody.
Or this one.
Or this guy, Seth Cerveza. No affiliation to any particular player, by the way, in history or known. Right? That's right. Does that cover us? Okay. Anyway,
out.
Go get yourself a t-shirt over at phnxlocker.com. If you get a membership, you'll also get member-only discounts over at the phnxlocker.com. And if you get a month-to-month membership, you'll still get those discounts. You'll also get your first month for just 50 cents. Regardless of your membership status, you will get members-only access to our Discord and members-only invites to our events that we're doing all all fall long, all winter long. Next year, when baseball comes back, we'll be doing that as well. And don't forget, we are doing our meetup at the Home Run Derby for the Arizona Fall League, the Fall Stars game. So make sure to check that out. We will be out there at Sloan Park on November 5th. That starts at 6:35 p.m. I believe tickets are $5.
Really?
$5.
Whoa.
$5. So no reason to not come out to one of the most beautiful spring training ballparks in all of Arizona, as well as one of the most exciting events. We're going to catch some fly balls and we're going to have a good time. So make sure to meet up.
Sloan Park is like a close second to Salt River Fields. Oof. Salt River Fields is the best spring training facility out there. Sloan Park, very, very close. It's a very, very nice place.
I can't argue with that. Of course not. We spent a lot of time there too, so we know.
Although you're obsessed with like Camelback Ranch or something, right? Is that the one you really like?
No. I like my favorite. No, I'm not obsessed with. I hate Camelback Ranch.
Oh, is that the one you hate?
That's the one that there's no shade during a day game at that ballpark. It's awful. Surprise. I also hate Surprise, but no offense to anybody out there who might be a fan. I just don't like traffic. I'm not a fan of traffic. Of course, if you're here right now on the PHNX YouTube channel, make sure to subscribe to the channel, sign up for notifications, leave us a thumbs up. That way we know you like us. Also, if you're listening right now on your favorite audio podcasting app, make sure to subscribe there, leave us a 5-star review, and that's only if you feel Jesse deserves it. Obviously, I am beyond repair at this point.
Or Leah, right?
Or Leah, yeah. These two deserve it. Me, old dog, can't teach him new tricks. So there's no amount of reviews that are going to make me change my ways or how I am. But that's because I'm very much set in my ways. I'm the mayor of this place. I don't have to change. I got elected. I'm going to get reelected, and that's how things are going to go. But the reason, there's a good reason for it. There's a good reason for it. Jesse knows, because every week around this place is Shark Week, and that's because of me. And every day is Earth Day, again, because of me, because we recycle. And of course, every Monday on this very show, we go to the mailbag. Let's go.
My mailbox, always something interesting in my mailbox. I try to get to everything in my mailbox, and then once in a while there's a letter that makes me go wow, wow. My mailbox.
Cannot hear the word mail without that song popping into your head, but of course we are here with Mailbag Monday. Let's get some questions going. Leah, what do we have for our first question? J Shoe Sports gets right into it. We have so many days to figure this out. But J Shoe Sports asks, who do you have winning the World Series this year with the matchup now set? I have Phillies in 7, which, wow, I like that. I wish I could feel that way, and I cannot. I can't bring myself to that. After watching the Astros do what the Astros have done with a fully rested pitching staff, I cannot help but say Astros in 4.
Astros in 4? Oh my gosh.
I'm doing it. I mean,
you're predicting the Astros to not lose a game.
Perfect playoffs. Perfect playoffs.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't help it. The Phillies, it's not like the Phillies were a bad team, but the Phillies were playing in these games. Don't get me wrong. They have some power, but so do the Astros. I think more than anything, though, I'm convinced by the pitching of the Houston Astros. I don't think any other team can keep up with their pitching staff, both starting rotation and their bullpen.
I mean, to be fair, the Astros in the postseason, you want to know what their ERA is?
Let's hear it.
It is 1.88. So
it's delightful.
It is a little bit hard to bet against a team that has done what the Astros have done. And I think I also am going to pick Houston in this series. I think it's going to be closer. I think it'll go 6 games.
Okay.
I have Astros in 6. But the Astros have just been a juggernaut throughout this entire season. And I think the trash can thing made a lot of people think that the Astros were not as good as the way that they performed that year.
That's a great point.
And people have just overlooked them.
Yeah, it discredits them. Oh, now you can't cheat. You're not going to be as good. You know,
the Astros were really freaking good without the trash can thing. That's the reality that people don't want to believe, but I think it's 100% true. And they're showing it right now in the postseason, just how good they can be.
The biggest thing, again, is the pitching staff, though. There's just no way to get over that. And the pitching staff didn't have shit to do with the cheating, though I'm sure that there's some ways that they're figuring out to get an advantage, because If you're not cheating, you're not trying, right? Rest in peace, Eddie Guerrero.
Jose Altuve is hitting 094 in the playoffs, and the Astros still have not lost a game. It's like a lot can go wrong, and the Astros can still just pummel everyone that they play.
Josh Hunt says in the comments, not that I thought they weren't good, but I didn't want them to be good. And that's a great point.
Yeah, maybe people are just kind of in denial more than anything else.
I wish it was the cheating. I really wish it was the cheating that made them bad, but it's not. They're a well-constructed franchise. That's really what it came down to. They were able to lose key pieces and still rebuild and get better, or at least maintain how good they were. And so much of it, to be honest, besides the cheating stuff, obviously, is still somewhat of a blueprint for a team like the Arizona Diamondbacks because of the amount of the amount of building that team that they did with their farm system and internally. Like, yeah, they get to that point where they start picking up free agents and adding those pieces because they know the core of the team that they have there is good enough should they be able to just add some pieces here or there. And they've been right about that.
Yeah. Jeremy Pena also, I think it's worth giving him a shout out. He's basically like the replacement for Carlos Correa. And Carlos Correa was a guy coming into the year that you felt really couldn't be replaced. Yeah. And Jeremy Pena, he wasn't Carlos Correa during the regular season necessarily, but he was still a really good player for them. And in the postseason, he has like a 1,000 OPS. Jeremy Pena has been really, really good for the Astros. And that's a name that I don't think a lot of people are familiar with yet.
Ben says, why can't the players the Astros trade to us be this good? How dare you besmirch the good name of Josh Rojas? How dare you? All right, next question. What do we got, Liam? Rick Hughes asks, is the answer to D-backs back end of Penn woes Landom Sims? Could be ready by spring training, if I recall. I hope. We hope. And I think, to be honest, the answer to the D-backs back end of Penn woes are going to come from the minor league system.
Yeah, that's something that they really need to improve at more than just about anything else is how do we develop relievers in-house, right? A lot of these guys that you've seen dominate in the postseason this year that these teams have are not free agents. They're guys that they signed or guys that they just developed in-house over the years that became really, really good back-end relievers. And that's something the D-backs just haven't done, right? Yeah. They've had a few guys with some potential. I still think Kevin Ginkel, is a guy who has a shot at becoming an effective back-end reliever at some point. But you need to have some of the types of relievers that we've seen in the postseason on this Diamondbacks team at some point. Whether Sims is the guy, I don't know. He's not going to come in and be a major leaguer right away, especially coming off of Tommy John surgery. It's going to take him some time. Yeah. So I wouldn't expect to see Landom Sims in the big leagues this year. Even 2024 might be a little bit bullish to have him having an impact in the big leagues, but it's certainly possible. I mean, he was a really, really good pitcher in college. Landom Sims was sort of like the Craig Kimbrell in some ways of college baseball. He was a very, very good back-end reliever, and that's why the Diamondbacks took him, hoping that, he had incredible stuff, and if he comes back with that same stuff after Tommy John surgery, there really might be something there.
Brett Johnson says, my best BFF Justin Martinez in the pen. Well, we know about your guys' relationship. Yeah. He's rooting for Brett Johnson to finish his ridiculous card collection that involves Justin Martinez. The color spectrum, I believe, as he called it, or the full rainbow. I don't know. I don't know that much about cards. We need to bring Rock in here to assess your entire addiction with Justin Martinez baseball cards. Ben says, I'm predicting a Melanson rebound. Hot take. Wow. What do you think?
I don't think that's that hot of a take, honestly. Yeah. Well, I mean, whether rebound means like leading the league in saves again, that's a hot take. But
being a valuable part of the bullpen,
yeah, being a valuable reliever who could be a viable closer, I think that's fairly, I don't want to say likely, but I think that's very possible. And it's something we've seen Melanson do before. It's not like Mark Melanson has had as long of a career as he's had without ever having a down year.
Right.
If you go through his career numbers, he's had not as great seasons every once in a while, and he generally follows it up by bouncing back the next year. So I know he's in his upper 30s now, but I still think that's possible.
I hope so.
Being a top 5 closer. Wow.
Ben's drunk.
That is a hot take.
It's 11:20 a.m. and I want Ben needs to have a breathalyzer test. What else we got, Leah? What are Derek's thoughts on the criticisms thrown at Taylor Swift on various PHNX pods the past few days?
This one's all you.
All right, look. I get it, right? Because when you're one of the biggest stars in the world, You're going to be criticized. Everything's going to be thrown your way. But one day, you people that threw criticisms at Taylor Swift's way are going to understand that she is the songstress of our era and of our lifetimes. She is one of the greatest singer-songwriters ever, and that's all there is to it. You're just jealous. That's all it is. Sure, is she jaded by a world that didn't love her back as much as she loved them? Probably. Is she jaded by a music industry that did nothing but tried to pick the bones from her carcass? Absolutely. Has she changed as a person because of these factors? Yes. Has it changed her as a songwriter? Absolutely not. She is one of the greatest, and I will not stand for this criticism that people like Leah threw her way. Leah, you want to get in on this? What is your problem with Taylor Swift?
So Craig was like trying to tee me up for a Taylor Swift hatred rant.
Yeah.
And on our show on Saturday, if you watch Southwest Bias...
But then you listened to Lavender Haze.
No, I haven't listened to a single song on the new album. I literally never will. But if you watched Sean on Southwest Bias last week, like he talked a lot of shit. Sean despises Taylor Swift. I do not like her music, but I respect her as an artist. Okay. I like some of her old school stuff.
Sure.
Like You Belong With Me sort of vibes.
Yeah.
I just don't care for her music. It really... I just have to change the station every time she comes on the radio. I don't have any of her songs on my phone. Like, I don't connect with her music. I don't like her music. I think she's a talented songwriter. I think she's a talented artist. That's why I don't want to disparage her, because I never want to disparage like a female artist who like created an amazing career for herself. Sure. I just cannot stand her music, and I will not be listening to Midnights.
See, that's fine. That's fine. That's a valid opinion.
That's entirely too rational.
I understand. Yeah, exactly. Right.
You're not allowed to have a rational take on Taylor Swift, right?
I'm sitting here agreeing with you. Elizabeth says, follow-up question. Jesse, can you name 5 Taylor Swift songs?
Love Story is the only one I can.
That's a good song, though. It's a good song. I'm cool. I'm fine.
I don't like Love Story, by the way.
Matt Huff says, who's more overlooked as a talent, Taylor Swift or Stone Garrett? The 2014 draft. Oh my God. Now Taylor gets her due. It's definitely Stone Garrett. That's for sure. We're answering that one easy. But by the way, Lavender Haze, an absolute delight. 11 out of 10. That's all I think. There's nothing else that needs to be said.
You said
Go
everything.
Listen to the new album, Midnights. It's great. I don't know what you guys are doing. I don't know how you can hate this woman. But here's the thing: is maybe you stay up till midnight, you listen to Midnights, you take some OG's gummies, and then maybe it'll change your perspective on what this woman has gone through in her life and how she's opening herself up like a book to all of you, and you don't even respect it or deserve it, to be honest. But the important thing there is try friends at OG's Gummies. They are the Arizona's top-selling gummy, and of course, they've launched their brand new Sleep Edition gummy. It's been just absolutely incredible, and for those of you that are turning to edibles for a good night's sleep, it is the exact thing you were looking for. It's a 2-to-1 THC to CBN ratio. It helps flavor your dreams and make them delightful, but it also helps you fall asleep and stay asleep with that CBN compound. We highly recommend you check them out. That new flavor is Aquaberry, as well as their entire variety of flavors over at OG's online at ogsbrands.com and on Instagram at ogsbrands. You can also find their products at your local dispensary. Must be 21 years or older to purchase. And also, it's almost over. Halloween's almost here. Spooky season is almost gone. Then we're on to Thanksgiving and family coming into town and stuff. So before that, make like Saul Bookman. Go to the haunted brewery tours, scream like a small child, and run the whole time through there. He knows how terrifying it is. He's standing in the room right now, and he can agree. But of course, make sure to check that out. Monday through Wednesday, they have 2 tours per night over at the 8th Street Pub. If you don't get a chance to do so, find Four Peaks Brewing Company beer near you. Must be 21 years or older to enjoy, and enjoy responsibly. Saul, did you have any thoughts on Taylor Swift? Let's go, because I heard everybody on this network had negative things to say about her, and I'm here defending her, so let's hear it. What are your thoughts?
That's awesome. My only thought on Taylor Swift is that I never have had one.
All right, well.
Wow.
Well said. That's Saul Bookman, ladies and gentlemen. Short and sweet. What else do we got, Leo, for Mailbag Monday questions?
Wait, I just had this comment from Ben. I can't believe Derek is more of a Taylor Swift fan than a Diamondbacks fan. Did not see that.
That is entirely possible.
Hold on. I only cover one of these things for my job, right? And so I have to stay unbiased and fair The other thing, I can be as irrational as I want to about it. But what else we got for questions here, Leah? Brian Bobbitt says the Phillies just made the World Series with a bullpen. I like how you spelled that. That ranked 11th of 15 in the National League in ERA. Obviously, the two teams are way different from an offensive standpoint, but how does that make us feel about the D-backs going into 2023? I don't feel like the Phillies bullpen was a liability for them in the playoffs at all. I thought that they did a good job of closing out games and not necessarily having things slip away from them where they had to come back or, kind of make up for the bullpen's inefficiencies, right? So
yeah,
I'll say that it's encouraging because it does show that when it comes down to crunch time, the guys that you can count on, the guys that kind of throughout the season you've been able to call on, kind of can step up and play at a higher level. It's just still not even knowing where the Diamondbacks are with that, not even knowing really who they can count on. Obviously, Joe Mantiply and a few others kind of come up, but it's still, we still saw. I don't know if we saw anybody be reliable as a reliever out of the pen.
No, not really. Not for the Diamondbacks, not consistently. Joe Mantiply had a great first half and then, kind of faded down the stretch, unfortunately. The Phillies, you're right, like in the regular season. I mean, again, we talked about it before. The Phillies were not that good of a regular season team. No. I mean, they were 87-75. They wouldn't have been a playoff team literally any other year in Major League history other than this one, right?
And now here we are.
They're in the World Series. But I still think there's a decent sized difference between the Phillies bullpen and the Diamondbacks bullpen. The Diamondbacks don't have Jose Alvarado. They don't have a lefty who throws, 100 miles an hour with sink. And they also don't have Sir Anthony Dominguez, who has a 1.17 ERA in the playoffs, and his stuff is just flat out nasty, right? Yeah. They still have like those two key back end guys that you really need in the playoffs. And they've had enough of their other middle relievers kind of fill in and do well enough to get them to the point that they're at right now. So yeah. I really think it says more about how well their bullpen is kind of turned things around in the postseason than it does what they did in the regular season. If you're the Diamondbacks, though, you can't count on that, right? Like you can't count on having a subpar bullpen during the year, just being good enough to get you to the playoffs and then being able to turn things around in the playoffs. And I don't think the current cast of characters they have would do that anyway. They just don't have the level of back end stuff that Alvarado and Dominguez do for the Phillies. So
right.
They're just different. They're just different types of relievers than what the Diamondbacks have.
And like you said, they know who they can rely on. They know those guys that have kind of proved to be locked down, and they've leaned on them heavily. It's the reason why it feels like the Phillies are kind of in a worse position than the Astros. But with the 5-day layoff, you can't help but think that kind of evens the playing field there a bit for the Phillies on how taxed they've been and what their road has been like getting to the World Series versus how easy the Astros road has been. And I'm not saying that based on opponents. I'm just saying the Astros had a first round bye. They've played 7 games in the postseason, and here they are at the World Series, right?
Yeah.
So the Phillies could definitely use the break, I think, more than the Astros, which makes this, World Series, the layoff makes it very interesting to me. I've talked about in the past what I've thought about layoffs and how it can kind of be a disadvantage, but when both teams are getting time off, it'll be very interesting to see how they match up. Leah, what else we got? Other than the Fall League, how will you pass time in the evenings without D-backs games? And Fall League's not going to be around for that much longer, you guys. That's another thing. We got until like November 12th until the Fall League is over. Jesse,
about 3 more weeks.
What are you doing with your time? Suns games?
No idea.
Suns games?
Yeah, I will probably watch every single Suns game. Every single one.
I will too.
The Suns are insanely entertaining.
Yeah.
And they showed that again last night.
Don't watch the Coyotes. They lose 6-2 every night.
I wouldn't have it anyway.
Bet against the Coyotes unless...
And they've hit the over 5 out of 6 games this season, by the way.
Well, and here's the thing is the puck line is always a puck and a half? Goal and a half?
Goal and a half
puck line. So make sure to bet against the Coyotes, just like last year. We're going to ride on this. We're going to make some money, except when they're playing the Toronto Maple Leafs for some reason.
So it's basically as long as the Coyotes don't lose by 1 or win, then you win that bet like automatically.
Yeah, but you bet they're losing by 2 goals or more almost every night.
Exactly.
So you take the
it just seems like such an easy win. Like, why?
Well, it's because in hockey they set the puck line at 1.5 on every game, just like I want to say baseball does it too.
But I think it's a run and a half.
It's a run and a half. So it's a goal and a half every game. So make that money. Make that money over the DraftKings Sportsbook app. We'll do that later, but I'm just telling you now. What else? What am I going to do? I'm going to give you some TV shows I'm really into right now because it's spooky season. I've been watching What We Do in the Shadows. That's an incredible show. If you haven't had a chance to watch that. It's about vampires living in the modern day era. It's very funny.
Nice.
There's also a Welcome to Wrexham, which is a show about the Wrexham documentary about Ryan Reynolds and oh god, his name escapes me right now. From
Don't look at me.
I'm not looking at you. But anyway, it's a great show. Check it out. Definitely. But I don't know. I mean, I guess that's the wonderful thing about it is without baseball, there's still plenty of sports to watch during this year. Rob McElhenney, thank you. They bought the Wrexham team. They become the new owners, and it's a documentary about that. And it's pretty damn good. It's pretty enjoyable.
Nice.
It's kind of like Ted Lasso, but in real life in a small way, you know. So if you're a fan of Ted Lasso, which this guy I'm sure hasn't watched, you guys can go check that out. I saw it. I saw the look in your eye when I said, you're like, who's Ted Lasso?
I will be watching the there's like a Peanuts Halloween movie, right?
The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Yeah. I'll probably watch that at some point.
That's a stellar. It's a stellar way to spend your Halloween season. Of course, that's the beautiful part about Halloween. And honestly, streaming services are top notch. Like streaming services do the work for you. You go in there now and they're like, we got our spooky season collection right here where you can watch all the movies in a row. That's why it was hilarious because the day that you got labeled as Ichabod Crane, I just watched the Disney cartoon the day before, so I couldn't have been more delighted by that comparison. Charles Woodall Pike says, love Welcome to Wrexham. Yeah, it's incredible, definitely. And Elizabeth says, oh my God, I forgot about the Great Pumpkin. Jesse saves the day. See, we're helping you out. We know baseball's over soon, but that's what we're going to do. What else do we got, Lee? Oh, here we go. We're doing it. We're doing this. We're doing this. If you had to recast the Avengers original using D-backs players, who would play who? All right. Well, Jesse was a little bit worried. Jesse has seen the Avengers, right?
I have. And then I saw like every other Marvel movie thereafter, and so I'm just utterly confused about everything.
Okay, that's fine.
So
we'll get straight out. Avengers is easy though, right? So we have our Avengers cast. We have Tony Stark as Iron Man, right? We have we have Captain America. We have Hulk. So Jesse, who are you casting as the Playboy millionaire that would be smart enough to make like a robot suit like Iron Man?
I feel like Alec Thomas kind of fits the bill.
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
I could see Alec Thomas just having some cool gadgets at home. You know, he's kind of a tinkerer.
I could see him in a tuxedo with a martini too.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about him being a good James Bond, so I think that
that sort of
crosses
connects
over.
Yeah,
right?
Tony Stark. Sure.
What do we got for Captain America? The good old lovable Boy Scout type.
What do you got for Captain America?
For Captain America, I got Jake McCarthy. I got Jake McCarthy.
Why are you asking me if you're
I don't know.
sure?
Because I know who should play these roles. So I'm just trying to.
It's more of a test to see if I know. I get it.
I'm testing you. Jake McCarthy. I mean, come on, right?
I fully agree with that, actually.
I'd say Jake McCarthy or Carson Kelly. Carson Kelly, I feel like he's very wholesome. He's very heroic.
He is.
I mean, not always at the plate, but you get what I'm saying, right? I mean.
Is Captain America as goofy as Carson Kelly is?
A little bit. Yeah. I mean. Captain America he's a bit, I'm not going to say goofy, but he's a bit like you, right? There's a lot of stuff he doesn't know because he's
much like Jesse. Captain America was frozen for 50 years.
In modern day time, right?
I am uncomfortable with how appropriate this analogy is right now.
He knows that he doesn't know stuff and he's okay with it, right? Like he was like, I was saving the world when your grandparents weren't alive, so that kind of thing.
So right? I should play Captain America.
That's basically what I'm getting around to, yes. And I'll play Tony Stark. Who do we have for the Hulk? The uncontrollable.
Hulk, it's probably Stone Garrett, right?
I mean, that's
just okay. The general physique.
Yeah, I'm getting that, but I'm like, there's got to be like a Bruce Banner that he is before he turns into the Hulk, right? And it needs to have the uncontrollable rage of a man known as Caleb Smith. That's who I'm putting as Bruce Banner. I've seen Caleb Smith turn into the Incredible Hulk on the field at least on 2 occasions, so I feel like it's very appropriate. Rounding out the cast, do we have what? We're going to do Hawkeye and Black Widow too? I don't know. Who would you have here for Hawkeye? A Deadeye Archer? I don't know. Hawkeye doesn't get the credit he deserves. The show was excellent. Check that out. But Hawkeye.
Dalton Varsho has all the tools.
He has all the tools.
So that
he probably have a bow and arrow
he
too.
probably could have a lot of success with a bow and arrow.
That's
I would think.
I like that.
He has a pretty good arm too. As far as like aiming in general, like throwing it where he wants to.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Archery.
Zach Gallen, glasses, the art again, the precision. His ability to aim and get it there. And then I don't know, Black Widow. What are we doing here? What are we even doing here?
Man.
We're gonna have to go this. We're gonna have to go based on like just the description of who she is. Assassin.
Mysterious.
A mysterious assassin on the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Corbin Carroll. The man is a mystery. He is an enigma wrapped inside a conundrum, and I don't understand him sometimes. And yes, he's too cerebral. Like I feel like he's always.
That's fair.
Even though he takes his time to answer the questions, it feels like he's too smart for the situation. That's basically what I'm getting at.
Corbin Carroll's a thinker. There's no question about that.
There we go. And we got Faj staring at me from out the door. I can't really concentrate because he's just fogging up the glass out there. He's fogging up his own glasses. This is weird.
Is he?
Ben says Corbin Carroll's Black Widow because he's so fast. We got it. There we go.
I think Jacob is advertising for the Smile movie.
Yeah, it's good. It's good advertising. They have a good thing going on with that whole thing. By the way, I gave you guys earlier the stuff about the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Go get down the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Bet against the Coyotes. That's the valid way. Just because they don't win doesn't mean you have to lose too. New customers can bet and bet $5 on any NBA money line bet and get $200 if your team wins and free bets instantly along with your winnings. You can boost your winnings up to 100% with DraftKings stepped up same game parlays. It's this simple. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use promo code PHNX. That's promo code PHNX on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Mac Huff says Granky is Groot, and I can't stop thinking about that. That's exactly. I know he's not on the team before, but we're giving it to him. I am Granky. More furniture, by the way, also hooking us up. Make your home look as beautiful as our office does with the More Furniture Fall Sale over at morefurniture.com. Not only do they have their stuff on sale, but if you spend $1,000, you'll get a $100 gift card, and that's for every $1,000 you spend. So redo the house, get yourself some free gift cards, and then add all those little pieces that, of course, you're going to forget over at More Furniture. And shout out to you guys for our questions. Of course, Mailbag Monday wouldn't be the same without you guys. We thank you guys so much for being here in the chat and for sending us questions. And of course, we will be out at Arizona Fall League this week, so make sure to join us for that, as well as, this thing we do called the PHNX D-Backs podcast. In the meantime, you can get us on Twitter. I'm at Cap_Caveman with a K. This guy's at Jesse N. Friedman. Our show is at PHNX_D-Backs. But of course, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Can I say one more thing about Phillies Astros?
Please do.
People like to say that, in like baseball is a little different. Like one player can't carry a team through an entire postseason. Like it really takes everyone on the team. But have you seen Bryce Harper in the postseason?
Yeah.
Did you see that 2-run home run, that go-ahead 2-run home run that put them in the position that they are right now?
He's picking up like 12 guys and putting them on his back and carrying them right now.
He's hitting .419 and slugging .907 in the entire postseason.
I'm going to say this about Bryce Harper. When the Arizona Diamondbacks played the Phillies, he made his return. And it was the first time I had seen Bryce Harper in person in a long time. And the man looked like an actual monster. Like he looked like a hulking beast that I was terrified to see back playing against anybody in baseball. And of course, he is one of the few people I think that have lived up to the huge amount of hype that was behind them as a young player, as a draft pick, as a minor leaguer. Bryce Harper continues to be a difference maker in baseball, and we're seeing it on the biggest stage, I think, for the first time, which is very exciting. So
he's making a decent Hall of Fame case right now, just with like how monstrous of a postseason he's had. Obviously, he has a long, long way to go in his career before he could possibly get there. But like these are the kinds of defining moments that put you, in the thick of the conversation for the Hall of Fame, and you really can't ask for anything more than what Bryce Harper has done in the postseason for the Phillies. It's insane.
Well said. Well said. Well, again, we thank you guys for joining us so much. On behalf of Leah, Jesse, and myself, we always appreciate your time. Thank you for stopping through. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when you understand the genius that is Taylor Swift.
Oh, my.